Good morning, Rouser Radio. Keith Hayes from the White Hart in Lewis. A little soup song of about 3/4 of an hour prior to Mirador Television going on the air at 8:30. Just a little teaser, a little taster. What a day, what a day. Good morning, it's Thursday the 9th of June. Where the hell does the month go to? It was only the 1st last week. The 9th already. In the year 2022, for those who may be listening in the future. Oh, I got a bit of a hiccup. It's sunny outside. It's not going to be totally sunny. There'll be some cloud that will interfere. But generally speaking, it's turned into a beautiful morning. So if you want to enjoy going out first thing, go out right now because it is beautiful, beautiful out there. A morning to relish. And should it be a morning to relish elsewhere? Well, I don't know because according to the newspaper headlines, we're in trouble, financial trouble in Britain, as if we didn't know. We've turned into a lazy nation. Nobody wants to go to work. Nobody wants to pay anything. Nobody wants to do anything that the state isn't providing. And nobody seems to understand that even the state has a finite amount of money, unless it comes tapping on your door. And if you ain't working, you can't pay any taxes, can you? So zero UK growth in 2023 and £100 to fill a car. Well, I can't get excited about that. I think the idea of everybody having a car and some people having two or three is a bit ludicrous, to be quite honest with you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a car. On the contrary, by all means, have a car. But the whole idea that everybody should is the same misguided thinking of everybody's got to have a house. Why? As long as you've got a roof over your head, that's the main thing. Why do you have to need to own a house? And as a matter of fact, some people are trying to cash in on the idea of why do you need to own a car? Why not just rent one for the day or the week or whatever? Not a bad concept, actually. What do you think of that? Oh, well, thank you for that endorsation. Right, I'm Keith Hayes. This is Rouser Radio, and we are going to take a look at the newspaper headlines. I got halfway through downloading some more music this morning, but it got interrupted, and so we'll go with. It's not a bad thing to play on a daily basis some of these things that are rather good, and try to ignore the things that are bad. But the newspaper headlines, okay, the Financial Times is the lead newspaper this morning. UK growth set to be the worst in G20, apart from Russia, and that's a warning from the OECD. Now, the OECD are notorious for getting things wrong, their forecasts, so that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fixed in stone, but it does not augur good news generally for the growth in this country. And if nobody wants to work, you won't grow. You don't make stuff to sell, you can't sell it. You can't go to work, can't pay taxes. Or at least you pay taxes, but you're not you're not particularly prone to having money to bung into the state. Mm. Now, one of the things that really is one of the big problems is that the organisation OECD, which assesses these things, says that part of the reason is high inflation. Well, okay, well the world is suffering from high inflation, but high levels of taxation. And considering that the Conservative Party are supposed to be the party of low taxation, the mind boggles if the other lot get in, because they're the party of high taxation. They love splashing out cash to buy all sorts of odd things and to support all sorts of untenable programs. So, all in all, my basic premise of a plague on all their houses holds good, particularly this morning when we find that essentially the country is bust. I can understand that, since I am, and an awful lot of other people I know are. But the Daily Mirror, of course, leads on £100 to fill the family car. The Mirror says the price per litre of petrol rose by 2p to a new high of £1.80 on Tuesday and is expected to keep on rising. It's relishing this, the Daily Mirror. The Daily Telegraph, a price of filling up an average car hits £100. The same story, but the Telegraph says that a 5p litre fuel duty cut announced in March has been effectively wiped out by soaring prices. So the cut in duty did no good whatsoever. The Guardian, a fuel cost surge and dire economic forecasts shattered the PM's hope of reset. Basically, of course, the Guardian goes after the Prime Minister. Uh, Boris Johnson's attempt to reset his troubled premiership is Downing Street has told petrol retailers they could face an inquiry from the competition watchdog if they're found not to be passing on the fuel duty cut to customers. Wowie, wowie, wowie. Johnson to let benefit claimants buy homes. Right, a new initiative from the Prime Minister. This is supposed to be a vote winner. Personally, I have my doubts. Lower paid workers will be able to use their housing benefits to buy their homes. Boris Johnson's plan is they will argue that the £30 billion in housing benefits that currently goes towards rent would be better spent helping people become first time buyers. It adds that the move is part of an attempt to shore up the authority of the Prime Minister after Monday's confidence vote. The Daily Express. Now, that is a promise. The PM vows to slash bills. The Express says the Prime Minister will also use a speech today to announce measures that will cut bills left, right, and centre. Well, let's hope so. But the market has a habit of doing what the market wants to do. It doesn't ask politicians or presidents or kings if it can get on with it. It is what it is, and it develops because of external factors. The rail strike passengers face a 6-day shutdown. It's the 21st, the 23rd, and the 25th officially, but because you can't move trains around once they're parked, is that will actually add on the 22nd and the 24th. So that's a 5-day shutdown, and they're adding on another day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, adding on another day because you'll never get everything back in time to resume proper services. It says the action could lead to empty shelves in supermarkets and with rural areas facing the greatest impact. Well, in Lewis, since we do rely upon transport bringing in our stuff, we could expect to be smacked. So be prepared. Let's see, which is the Metro. No shame. The Metro accuses RMT General Secretary Mick Lynch of having no shame about the disruption the strike will cause to school exams, Glastonbury Festival, and an English cricket test match. Lynch is quoted saying, "We don't want disruption for anyone, and I apologise for disruption. People may suffer." But there's never a good time for a railway dispute. You can say that again. The Daily Mail, lawyers set to ground first Rwanda flight. Well, another initiative by the government that was very, very popular when it was announced, very, very popular. But of course, the legal beagle lawyers who represent the wokes and so on and so forth are all up in arms. You can't do this. It's discriminatory. Well, who the hell are we discriminating against at the moment? It's us. That's why we've got economic problems, housing problems, social problems. We've got all sorts of problems because we've got open doors, an open door policy. Come on in. It ruined France. Now it's ruining us. So if you want to say, "Oh, well done, yes, can't send them to Rwanda," what do you do with them? Because it's your money. It's your money that supports them. Make no mistake. Every time the tax bill goes up and the cost of living rises, it's part of it is that we are part of it is we are expected to pay the bill, to pay the piper. So don't moan if you are saying, "Well done, these lawyers who are stopping people being sent to Rwanda." It doesn't matter whether I approve of that or not. That's beside the point. The point is it practical to try and stop it? And is it ethical to try and stop it? And is it so immoral to send off people who want to come here illegally as asylum seekers or refugees to be sent to this country? Who's agreed to do it? The Daily Star. I want mummy is the headline in the Star. The paper says archaeology students are getting trigger warnings in case studying mummified bodies gives them the heebie-jeebies. Ah, good old Star, take us out of ourselves. Is if you look at dead people, if you start to unwrap mummified bodies, look at people who are thousands of years old, is it's got a psychological impact. I'm sure it has. For God's sake, there are lots of things that we had to broach ourselves against. And the Sun is once again, it's totally ignoring anything that's happening bad socially. I don't know why. Perhaps it's determined that it will not be a newspaper anymore. But Kelly to wed, and it's a romantic Italy thing for Kelly Brook, is it? Kelly Brook is to marry boyfriend Jeremy Parisi in Italy next month. Well, I didn't get an invitation. Why should I worry about it? Let's take a little break now after all that gloom and doom on the front pages. And let's go Jesse Frenchie. Okay, you are listening to Rouser Radio, emanating from the White Hart Hotel in Lewes, East Sussex. Another day, and actually a nice day. A day that you probably enjoy going out into. Uh, so let's see, we've got to stop there, haven't we? We've stop a lot of things. Oh, we'll do that. Then we'll figure out the other. Yes, it's a good day. And the high today is like to be 18, 19. Not much chance of rain until late afternoon, but some clouds scudding by, so it's not all going to be bright sunny periods. Well, it's going to be sunny periods, but not without some cloud zipping over. A pleasant day, a nice day, a day to be out there and enjoy yourselves. Except that with most people working from home, presumably they have to stay indoors at home, because after all, they're at work, aren't they? Ha ha ha. Yes, yes, this whole thing has become a farce. It was necessary through lockdown. Now, I mean, it is all you got to do is to speak to some people who are from home. They can't help it. They have to do domestic stuff. It pops up in front of their face. They can't shrug and say, well, when I get in tonight, I've got to. They do it right then and there when they're supposed to be working. Now, that takes the edge off of any organization's thrust to come to grips with a very, very frightening world. And the headline in the newspapers is that not only £100 to fill the family car, but also that the economy is set for zero growth. Well, if you don't work, you don't get growth. And it's that simple. Is as usual, there are lots of people pointing the finger at the government. But I'm beginning to feel, even though I am totally anti-government at the moment, and anti-governance, and anti the people that are in government, is I have to admit that some of the problems that they're facing are really very poor problems, very bad problems. The big problem really is, on top of that, is that you have to take into account that these are problems that are of our making. No growth is because we're not working. You know, if we're not working, we're not working. And so there is no growth. You don't have growth without effort, without energy. So it's important for us to realize that unless we take ourselves by the scruff of the neck, there's no sense of complaining about what the government may or may not be doing. That's the easy way out. I mean, that's what the wokes do. They can't wait to find something negative and have a go at it. Surely now is the time for us to be positive. Let me, however, because one of my bugaboos is the retail financial sector, which savagely needs an overhaul. It's just gone wild and it's gone silly, and it's let computers take over to the point where it's destroying our social fabric. It's making huge amounts of obscene money, which it manages to fritter away. Um, there we need reform. As you know, it's not only the banks, but a large number of companies who rely upon the computer send out a reminder. You know, you owe £20 today. Please pay on your account. But you look and you've paid it, so you want to say, "Hang on, I've paid it. Thank you very much." You click. Aha! It won't deliver. In other words, they are able to come at you, but not permit you to go back at them on the same issue. The best that you can do is then go, frankly, to a lot of places, go to our website. Well, you've got a hell of a lot of people who don't know how to get to a website, and once they get to a website, how to find their way through. Now, this is absolute rubbish, absolute nonsense, and unless somebody does something about it, then I suggest that their computer system is shut down and they get back to using people. But if it's allowed to go on, this is going to be a sore in the side of our society. It's laziness on behalf of the big companies anyway. Yeah, get you working, but we're not going to respond. Oh, dearie, dearie me, no. We'll make it as difficult as possible. Oh, and by the way, our system says if you pay today, it'll take 5 working days for it to get through. Yeah, don't use your computer for that. It can be instant. Don't tell me it can't. It can. It can be instant. And if it's going to take 5 working days, why isn't it 5 working days for you to actually done people? Yeah, I mean, you use so many stupid excuses, and it's time for reform. It's time for someone to look at it. It's time actually for a national inquiry into the practices, not only of the retail sector, but of some big businesses as well. They're rubbish. They're nonsense. Oh dear, dear me! It's only 5:02, and I'm having a wonderful rant at the moment. So let's listen to Ben Sound's ukulele to calm us down. Nice little ditty, isn't it? A nice little number to rumble us along. Now, some serious stuff on the inside of the Daily Mail this morning, because it appears that at long last the love potion of drama, of Shakespeare and history can become a reality. That if you like a cuddle and you fancy somebody, let's just put this in front of us so that we can see. Is Experts say real love potions could be available within 3 to 5 years. Drugs which spark romance may include the cuddle hormone, oxytocin, while low-dose ecstasy could help couples fall back in love. A form of antidepressant may be given to lovers who may have been dumped. Oh my goodness me! There's all the age there. You feel like giving your girlfriend a cuddle. You take a bit of a drug. If she rejects that, you don't feel down and hearted about it anymore, you take a drug to make you feel good. Oh my goodness me, that's terrific. A love pellet. And this is going to be available within 3 to 5 years. I don't know that I can wait. Goodness gracious me. It's a love potion. Bring it on. Bring it on. The only thing is, that I'm not sure that I got that many targets left that I could throw a love potion at. Um, but I'm sure that in the flow, the wonderful feeling that you can have from about well about 12 on, I think, of oh, she's for me, and I need to have a cuddle, is widespread. So to make that stronger and lovelier, you can take this pill. What I bet that they put a 21 limit on it. When you're 20 and a half, you can't cuddle. When you're 21 and a day, you can. Is how we continue to try to buck Mother Nature. And talking of 21, they are now talking, in fact, it looks as if it's going to become a reality, of making it illegal to sell cigarettes and therefore to smoke. Um, if until you're 21. Now, essentially, the efforts to curb smoking have been relatively successful. Smoking is not as widespread as it was, and certainly the third-party stuff. You walk into a room and everybody else is smoking and you're not, and therefore you inhale their fumes. Has been cut down dramatically. Stopping cigarettes is always a real problem, and if you're going to make it illegal to smoke under 21, you're putting another burden on the police. Even though, yes, admittedly, you may be well helping the system to handle smoking diseases and emphysema and so on. Um, it's always difficult, isn't it? It is always difficult to decide what we should be doing for the better good and what actually then bounces back and society pays the price. It was with great glee that we decided to place embargoes on various items that we needed from Russia. We won't buy them. They'll soon cave in. This will destroy them. Well, the Russians have actually turned it on its head. So now what they've said is we won't sell to you anyway. So that immediately causes a shortage. And who is the vital bit? It's us. So some thinking needs to go into some of these things. Deep thinking, not just knee-jerk reaction. Knee-jerk reaction is easy. Somebody hits you, you hit them back. Yeah, well, it's one of those things that never mind, never mind. Here is Breeze with Telecasted. Yes, rather nice, rather nice. Uh, I mean, it's easy to put me to sleep. Uh, I fall asleep at oddest times during the day. And sometimes in front of this microphone, I wake up and I go, oh gosh, I'm still on the air. Luckily, it lasts for all of about a second or 2 seconds. But I'm sure that we've all experienced that. Goodness gracious me. Indeed. As long as you don't do it in front of the magistrate or whatever, if you're hauled into court for any reason, he doesn't appreciate that. Although notoriously, magistrates and judges are supposed to be able to nod off and come back in and not realise that they've missed anything. Okie dokie, it's 6 minutes past eight. The main pages this morning are really to do with the fact that a family car now will cost £100 to fill. And actually, I wonder whether that may be a blessing in disguise. Maybe A, that it will help public transport because more people will take a bus or a tram or a train than actually drive. And secondly, that we are not going to be polluting the air, jamming the roads, and so on. Everything that we do, we always do in a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, this massive thing about parking is local councils are just on a gravy train. You know, they've got a small army of people who go out to make sure that you haven't parked illegally, and if you have, you get a ticket and you get to pay for the privilege of getting your life back to all intents and purposes. Seems to me to be the wrong way round. Why aren't we investing money in the first instance? Train people not to drive, not to drive to places. You can't do that. The economy it has a very important sector of the motor industry. We expect people to change their cars and so on. Yeah, so they can spend 30, 100 quid on a tank of gas. I mean, it's getting silly, really, really silly. And the trouble is, there seems no end in sight. All the experts have no answers to what's going on. And that is sad, sad, sad. Say minutes past eight. I'll hopefully I should have more than just well, doesn't look as I have. Oh yes, down with your get up. Down with your get up, which can take us through to 8:15 and time to give way for television at 8:30. with your get-up by the Mini Vandals. I really like this Mini Vandals group. They've got some interesting new stuff. Now, just before we go, I mentioned that this weekend, beginning tomorrow, is the Lewis Speakers Festival, and there is a whole host of really first-class speakers who have actually written books, and they talk about not only their book but their lives and their experiences. Some household names like Sandy Gore, Gary Nessler, um, other names for Dennis McShane, Minister of State for Europe, and Ian Williams, the foreign correspondent based in Russia and in Asia for Channel 4, and Wing Commander Mike Sutton, who led the squadron into action against ISIS in 2015. So a whole host of people. It comes up. It's in the All Saints Centre, the 10th, 11th, and 12th of June. You can get tickets at, well, go online at www.lewisspeakersfestival, or one word.com, and single tickets are £12.50. Early bird prices are £9.50, and festival passes are also available. They don't give the price of that, and I don't blame them. Because at £100 for a tank of gas, this looks like a better alternative. Okay, that's it for this morning. What do you think of all that rubbish? Thank you. Time to say goodbye. It is 8:13 on June the 8th, 2022. These dates are not propitious, unfortunately. It is not a year to be marked for happiness and well-being. Nonetheless, there they are. Those are the realities. We have to live with them. Till tomorrow morning, this is Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio, and a nice toodle pip. Toodles?